Let us understand how to factor completely. We have 6 questions here and we will see common factors from these given questions. So we are basically exploring common factors. So this worksheet will help you to give you more insight to how to factor terms with more than one term within them, right? So let's start with example 1, which is 5 times p plus q minus p plus q. Now in this we have p plus q as a common factor, correct? So I could write this as p plus q as a common factor. If I divide 5 times p plus q by p plus q, I'm left with 5. Do you see that? Minus p plus q divided by p plus q is 1. So we get 5 minus 1. Well, sometimes you can solve it also. In this case, it becomes 4 times p plus q. Well, you could have done it even otherwise, but that is how we get the result using factoring. Okay, now let's do one more example to understand the concept. So here is a similar one, but in this case, instead of having numbers as the coefficient, we have some variables as the coefficient of the common factors in the bracket. The question is 2t times x minus y plus s times x minus y. As you can see, x minus y is a common factor. So we can write this as x minus y times 2t plus s. So that becomes the product form of the given sum form, right? Now no more common factors are left. So we say it has been completely factored. Well, at this stage, I'd like you to pause the video, copy the questions and answer, and then look into my suggestion. Okay, let's move on. So these are actually very typical examples on factoring with common factors. Now part C is 3x times a minus b plus 5 times a minus b whole square. When I say a minus b whole square, that means it has 2 terms here, a minus b times a minus b. So we can take a minus b as a common factor. So we get what? We get a minus b as a common factor. Inside we get 3x from the first term, and what do we get from the second term? It is 5, of course, times a minus b, since one of them has been factored here, right? Times a minus b. This is what you get. Now in this case, what you can do is you can expand these terms and write down your answer as 3x plus 5a minus 5b, correct? So that is how you can factor completely. Okay, now 5 is common between these two but not between the third term, so we cannot factor this out. So we say at this stage it is completely factored. I hope that is absolutely clear, correct? Okay, so let's move on and do part D, which is x plus 3 times x minus 3 minus 3 times x minus 3. At times in this question we also give you x square minus 9. Then you have to factor and write like this and then do the step which we are going to do. X minus 3 is a common factor, so clearly we can write x minus 3. We are left with x plus 3 from the first term, right? And minus 3 from the second, which you can simplify and you can write this as times x, correct? So that is the factored form. So like this, you can factor the rest of the questions. Now these two are for you to practice, correct? This one is very similar to part C and this is similar to what we have already done. Okay, so factor them and then move on to the following video. Thank you and all the best.